Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome to the community conversation. This is a hujjat initiative. In these regular conversations with individuals, we will explain their struggle, achievement, courage, and disappointments that shaped and guided their faith, family, and community. Today we have with us Shahina Chandoo, who has joined us to have a community conversations and share her life journey and experiences. Shahina was born in Stanmore. Her parents originally came from Zanzibar, East Africa. She did her primary and secondary education in Stanmore and currently doing psychology with Criminology at City University, London. Her passion is cycling, and she is level 2 British Cycling Road and TT. I don't understand TT, but we can have a conversation on that. Track Cyclocross and BMX Coach. She was awarded the British Cycling Scholarship, fostering diversity in elite coaching. Welcome, Azra, to the community conversation. Thank you for accepting our invitation to have this conversation. So why passion in cycling?
I think it's just something that my dad was into it, so, and he got me into it, and he taught me how to ride, and he would take me out riding with like him and then some of his friends. We would go on like really short rides when I was young, and then when I was about 15, we did it's now called Ride London, but at the time it was called Prudential. And it's this big ride in London it's closed roads, so only cyclists can go, so no cars.
Right.
And there were multiple disciplines, so my dad took me on the shortest, which was at the time.
And how old were you then?
I was 15.
Oh, right, okay.
So it was like 19 miles we did, and then we took, so him and some of his cycling buddies, we took the train, and then we cycled to the start, and then we did the whole 19 miles through London. It was like we went from, I think it was Sandy Park, something like that, and then finished in front of Buckingham Palace.
Okay.
And that was really good. Like at the time, I was the only young person cycling in the community. So that sort of sparked the idea of that we need to get more young people into cycling. So that was the year before COVID, so 2019, I think it was.
Right.
That was really good and really interesting. And then COVID came along, and it was just obviously messed up things, but we were able to get into cycling a bit more, and
it was much more open sort of sport, so it was perfectly all right.
Yeah, it worked for lockdown because you didn't. Yeah, it was cycling became really popular in lockdown, so you couldn't even get bikes or anything at that point because so many people were taking it up.
Interested, that's right.
Yeah, because it was one of the only things you could do at that particular time. So it was really good, and then sort of towards the back end of 2020, there was SJ Ladies Cycling.
What does SJ stand for?
So Stanmore Ladies Cycling, and they sort of came around, and they did some their end goal was to do a big cycle for Hour, which is Aliaska Water Appeal. In 2020, a big cycle ride. So there was 2 routes. I think one was 25, 30 miles, and one was 40 miles. So I did the 40-mile one, and we were in a group, and then we did that. There were training rides beforehand that we went on to practice that they organized. So we did Regent's Park rides and stuff, and then we came back, and then we did the thing, which was from Stanmore, so from the mosque to Windsor Castle. Had a bit of a break there, and then came back.
How long does it take to go there?
Well, how old was I? I was 16 at that point, so 40 miles. I think it took me 5 hours at that point, because I wasn't strong at that point, so I was still cycling kind of slow.
So what's the journey? I mean, it's interesting. What's the journey like when you're sort of cycling, and so what sort of, I mean, you see nature, I take it.
Yeah.
And so what sort of things that go through your mind? I mean, it must be an enjoyable experience. That's why you're doing it.
Exactly.
So give us some emotions that really sort of make you feel happy.
It's
cycling.
Yeah, it's very freeing. It's a really free experience because you're not contained by anything.
So that cycling gives you that freedom, eh?
Yeah, it's it's just you, your bike, and the open road, and because I'm up in Watford now, so it's very easy to go from a busy area to a very quiet area where you can just do your own thing,
right?
And then just and you can go as fast as you want, as slow as you want. It doesn't matter because there's not much around you.
So,
it's really nice.
When you start the cycling, say, you presumably before you do the cycling, you must be in some state of emotion, maybe.
Yeah.
Then you do your cycling, and then you finish your cycling. Your emotional state is far sort of in a happier state.
Yeah, it's a lot more positive, I think, especially like when I get like stressed out with uni or exams or school, like obviously GCSEs and A-levels at the time. So it was really nice it's like a way to also get your frustrations out as well.
Okay.
It's a cathartic, healthy kind of let out.
Right, okay.
It's like for some people go to the gym or they box or whatever. This is like my way of doing it.
Right. Would you say it's a lifestyle sort of health choice now?
I think I never started it as a lifestyle choice. Like it was something I enjoyed doing. However, it obviously does have benefits to my health, and it is a lot fitter. And there are people who do it as a healthy way of living. But for me, it didn't start like that. It just happens to have those benefits, which is really good. But I do it because I enjoy it, not because of that. It's like good for me or anything.
So what made you sort of take it up so passionately like that? I mean, I know you explain about the dad side of the thing, which took you, but to continue with it and to maintain it, and there must be some factors.
Yeah.
Would you sort of name one that you apart from freedom, that it sort of gives you the ability to exercise or something like that? You feel it's like I don't want to say drug. But like like you're hooked onto it, and you just want to do it. You just want. Is that something like that?
Yeah, I would say so. After the sportive that we originally had, the chair of Stanmore and Harrow's Ladies Cycling stepped down, and what came was this club called Evolve Cycling Network, which was created by the ladies, one of the ladies in our community. So our chair, her name is Ifat Tajani, so she's the chair of our club. And she created Evolve, so it's a cycling network specifically for like Muslim women, and now we're children as well. But it started off as Muslim women and girls.
Right. We'll come to that because I have got a question on that. So we'll come to that. But I just want to sort of park the cycling part at the moment somewhere. But I just want to now concentrate on your sort of as you grew up. So you're born in Stanmore.
Yeah.
And talk to us about your parents. Where did they come from originally?
Yeah, so both my parents are from East Africa. So my mom grew up in Zanzibar.
What's your what family is your mom come from?
So my mom comes from Saleh, the Saleh family, and also I think she comes from the Saleh family.
Yeah.
So she was.
But originally from Zanzibar?
Originally from Zanzibar, but my mom's mom is from Tanga area, and my mom's dad is from Zanzibar.
Right, okay.
And then my dad was like sort of moved around a bit when he was younger. Like they were in Karachi for a bit, and then they came here as well. So he primarily like grew up here as well.
Okay. So then you did your schooling here in primary and secondary school. As you were growing up in Stanmore area, I mean, the growing up was sort of good?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like my mum has always been very active in the community, so...
What did she used to do?
Yeah, she used to the classes that they held for children. My mum was one of the organisers and runners for like years. So as I was growing up, so even Ramadan, Muharram, all of those classes, she was one of the teachers and runners. So I grew up in the classes. And then when I became too old, she was still volunteering, so I would help her out. Then. And then up until COVID, and then she was like, then we sort of stepped back from that because we were old. We were older now, but now we volunteer in the ELC, so in the ladies program instead,
which is nice. How important was community during your sort of growing up time?
I think
very important.
Yeah, I think it's quite important because.
Did it shape you quite a lot?
I think it introduces you to things that you don't necessarily have in school. So the friends you make growing up, the people you meet, the experiences you have, like you know, like when you were younger in the lectures or whatever, you don't get that experience, and you don't get the same experiences in school, you know, coming to mosque, like on Ashura, the gap between like, you know, the main program and Shama Gariba, like when you stay here, you like do stuff with your friends and whatever. It's like those memories and stuff that you have. Even Ramadan as well is like so important for community because Ramadan is obviously spirituality. So being here in itself is just very.
Did you feel that growing up in a community like ours, that it gave you emotional support and
I think it
friendship support and that sort of thing?
I think I made like quite a few friends through the community. And through this, like obviously we do a lot of sports stuff as well here. So like I used to play badminton, like I do badminton and stuff. So you can go like see with your friends that maybe you don't always you're only your mosque friends. So you don't see them like in school or anything.
It's only a mosque friend.
Yeah, but like as in you're not in school together. Yeah. So you don't live near each other. But your connection is mosque or through the sports things like the mosque does, and then you can see each other, which is really nice.
No, it's important to know how community was shaping people who were born here, and then,
of course,
because it becomes quite an important part in their life. So you then finished your schooling and then went on to university. Yes. Now you are a university student.
Yes, I'm a
What's the university student like? I mean, university life like?
Busy, I would say. I'm a commuter, so I live at home.
Right. Yeah.
And I travel in. It's very, very busy. But I do enjoy it, and I like my course and my degree. So
you know, there's always one question that is in my mind, that you can be a commuter student, living at home and then commuting, and then there are students who live outside home. Presumably, you have friends who live outside home. Is there a substantial difference in living outside, sort of independently, compared to still living at home under the parents, sort of?
I think there's a...
Do you talk about this sort of thing?
Yeah, I think there's two sides to it, because one is when you're living by yourself, you're very independent. Of course, you're in charge of your own cooking, cleaning, your responsibilities and everything. But when you're living at home, that's not to say that you don't have those responsibilities as well. It does depend on how your family is. Like I am a very independent person, so I will, I will cook myself. I'll cook for the family if I need to. I will do stuff. It is dependent on each individual's family. Like some don't, but some will.
Yeah. So obviously, in your case, it didn't make that much of a difference.
No, really, it's just a long
travel. You still continued with the way your life was and independent sort of life.
Yeah.
So what made you go for psychology and criminology?
Well, when I was younger, I wanted to do pharmacy, but I did some work experience in it when I was in year 10, I think, and I just didn't really enjoy it that much.
Right.
So I was like, oh, that's not the career route for me. So I just kind of spent some time trying to figure it out, and then I was in secondary, in sixth form, I spoke to somebody who was doing psychology, and she said that she wanted to do psychology as a career. And I started looking into it, and it was really interesting, and I was quite think the brain and our emotions and decision making. I thought that was really interesting. And then somebody told me there was no point doing psychology by itself is great, but it doesn't give a lot of people do psychology.
That's right. And what do you do after that?
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily make you. It can be if somebody's got a psychology degree, but somebody's got a psychology with something else, it can look slightly better in terms of an employment CV.
That's right. Yeah.
So, and then we had a module in A-levels for criminology, and I really enjoyed it because I was the nature of crime, and I like watching all the true crime documentaries anyway.
Right, okay. And do psychology play a huge role in there?
Yeah, in criminology, because it's all about there's different parts to criminology. So you have the victims, the offenders, so there are different sections: prisons, rehabilitation.
So you found it very interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's got a lot of a lot of stuff in it as well that you can break down. So I was like, that sounds really good.
So how is the course moving then? I mean, do you feel still interested in the choices that you have made, psychology and criminology?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so my course is BPS accredited, so it's British Psychological Society accredited. So it means that after I graduate, assuming I get a certain degree mark, I can then move on to be like a chartered psychologist in whatever field I would like.
And practice what?
Yeah, so practice, it kind of depends. So there's, you've got like clinical psychology, occupational psychology, therapy, counseling.
And also criminology.
And also criminology, but the BPS the accreditation isn't as important for criminology, but it is for if you want to go into like more of a health-based sector.
Right, okay. But if you want to go into criminology, then you may have to do some more modules or extra degree.
Yeah, more studying. Even for, to be honest, anything in psychology tends to require more studying as it is.
When you sent me your CV, I saw something that you went to Turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that like?
So as part of uni, they had this global internship program. So you had to apply and then you had to do an interview and everything. And then I was one of the people selected for the program. And it was this fully funded trip to Turkey working with this organization called Common Purpose.
Right.
And you would do like a work placement there for 3 weeks. 4 weeks. And you would do like whatever work experience. Like they gave us some options and we could choose which one we wanted to do. And
what did you choose?
So I chose law.
Oh, right,
because I was like, because there was like criminal law.
I think your grandfather is a lawyer.
Yeah, he's a lawyer. So I don't know if
perhaps you can tell his name.
Huh?
What's his name?
Oh, Mustafa Chandoo.
Oh,
so
right, okay.
Yeah. So so law was quite interesting because the law firms there, they specialized in criminal law and family law, which was quite interesting for me.
Yeah.
So I chose to do law.
So apart from there, obviously you must have seen Turkish society.
Yeah.
What was that? I mean, how did you find the people generally there?
I think it's really good. We were based in Istanbul, and Istanbul is like a city that never sleeps. So no matter like what time it is, there's always something going on there.
Okay.
So it's really good, and there's like the public transport system there is complicated. But once you I feel like if you live there, you'd get the hang of it. But for the whole month I was there, I was like so confused.
What about the lingo, the language?
Yeah, the language, you can pick up small bits. Like English isn't very common there.
No, I would have thought so.
Yeah, especially not in the workplace.
Yeah.
But we were all based in like international places, so there were people who spoke English, which was good. But when you're out and about, you can actually communicate with people. Sometimes it does require Google Translate.
Right. Yeah,
but you can make do when you need to.
So with your phone, you used to.
Yeah, like type what we wanted, and people would respond. It kind of worked.
So on the whole, a good trip.
It was a very good trip. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
You sort of had the cultural experience as well.
Yeah, and then also it was like. There was 30 of us, and I went by myself, so I didn't know anyone. So it was like that whole we made friends and everything. It was really like you make friends with new people, and now we're all still friends now that we've come back here in university.
So what's one thing that you would say I remember about Istanbul? What is it? One thing that you remember?
So a lot of us on the trip were Muslim, and we did either Hajj there. So.
Okay.
And we all went to do like Eid namaz, and then we came back and we had like food together and everything. That was really nice.
Yeah, so you remember that?
Yeah, because we were all.
Did you visit any places of interest, like any mosques or anything?
Yeah, so we had the Blue Mosque and Hagia Sophia. So those are the two big mosques.
What was that like experience?
So beautiful.
Really? Okay. It's in front of a sea sort of.
Yeah, it's very close to like the coastal area.
That's right.
It's really pretty there, and there's a lot of history behind like Hagia Sophia especially. So
why is it called a blue mosque, I wonder?
It's because it's blue. That's literally
it. Looks blue.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think when you come down to the airport, you can see the mosque.
I don't know if it's the blue mosque you can see from the airport, because Istanbul has like a mosque every 2 feet. There's another mosque. There's like amazing. There's alhamdulillah. There's loads and loads of mosques there. So
you came back and you pursued your now studying psychology and criminology.
Yeah,
so when are you going to finish that degree?
It sort of depends. So I'm in the middle of applying for placements.
Okay.
So if I do a placement year, that means that extends a year onto my degree. So I'll go do a placement next year and then come back for my final year of my degree.
There is something I read. You are a president of a psychology society.
Oh, yeah.
What's that all about?
So within universities, we have societies, which are like clubs essentially, and part of that is you can have departmental societies, and you can have interest societies. So there's like skiing societies, anime societies, different societies, and then I'm the president of the departmental society, which is psychology.
So, what is your role in that case, the president? What do you do?
Basically,
just chair or what?
Yeah, so I come up alongside. I have a team of people, but we come up with, events, organize events, so different social events. So, for example, we've done like ice skating, together, or pumpkin painting we did recently.
So basically a social sort of...
So it's to get the social side. So we have the academic, which is provided by university, but then we also want the social aspect to connect people and form a community within our course.
Okay. I want to come back to your passion, cycling, because I think you became a coach.
Yes.
Why?
Well, I was introduced to it by Ifat, who was the head of Evolve. So she said, she wanted to get me involved primarily to go for to coach young children, because I'm a bit younger myself and I enjoy doing that, and that is my passion. I like working with kids. So she came to me, she was like, come do the coaching qualification and then we can start, doing stuff with children. So I was like, okay. So I did my level 1, and we were working with a local cycle hub in Harrow. And we were doing like learn to ride and confidence boosters, and those were good, but they were working with adults primarily, so it wasn't really children. And then,
but your sort of mindset was for the
children. Yeah. So this was in 2021.
Okay.
And then on the back end of 2021, I became a level 2 coach, so more experience. And that was because we were now preparing to launch our Children's Go Ride Club.
And that is open to all?
Open to all. So there's lots of people from our communities, from other communities. So we've got even opened like school children. So you see like some of our coaches are teachers as well. So they've got some of their school children coming. It's open to everyone. It's not limited to just a few people. And that's good. So we go all the way we're 4 to 16 years old. So we go from little babies learning how to ride, and we've got our older kids who are learning how to do skills and get into races and stuff as well.
Now, Duke of Edinburgh, what happened there? Did you got a scholarship?
Well, so I did my bronze, silver and gold for Duke of Edinburgh, and I'm now a DOV.
Can you explain to the audience what Duke of Edinburgh all is about?
Yeah, so Duke of Edinburgh is like you do this. It's split into 4 sections. So you have volunteering, skills and physical, and then your expedition. So you volunteer for a certain amount of time, you do a skill. So you're supposed to learn a new skill. So for example, like cooking or playing an instrument or something like that. And then physical is like a sport, so like badminton, netball, whatever. And then your expedition is you have to walk and you have to camp. So you hike you're given a map and you plot the route beforehand. And then when you plot, so they give you like, this is your start point, this is your finish point, and this is where you have to check in. And you're given like the big OS maps, and you plot your route.
OS is?
Ordinal Survey Map.
Right.
So, and you plot your route of where you're going to walk.
So you do it yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when you come for your expedition, you're not allowed your phone, no GPS, nothing. You just have your map and with a group of you, and you've got to walk from the start to the end. And then you make it to the campsite, and you camp, and then you do it the next day. And each level, like the time increases. So bronze, you start with like 2 days, 1 night camping, and then by the time you finish in gold, it's 4 days, 3 nights camping.
Would you recommend this thing to our community youngsters?
I would say I would recommend if you enjoy outdoors and you enjoy walking, because I'm not going to lie, it's tough. Like bronze is relatively okay, like you can do it without any
but silver and gold
training. Silver, even then, it kind of, you can probably get away with it. But gold is quite tough because there are certain requirements you have to hit. So you have to do a certain amount of elevation. You have to do a certain amount of length. So you're walking for 9 hours. And it's also wild camping. So it's not camping in a campsite.
Right. Would you say it's as a Duke of Edinburgh award winner, it has helped your situation in life? Would you say that?
I think it's definitely built up skills like
Right,
resilience and problem solving and teamwork as well, because you're literally out on your own. So
but you're part of others as well.
Yeah, so there's about like 5 or 6 of you, depending on how big your group is. But you do have to work out like how to, figure out where you're going, where you are. And there are disagreements, of course, like where you are. Like, no, I think we're here and we should go this way.
So
no,
what
I
happens
think we should go another
when
way.
there's a disagreement?
You have to you have to solve it as a group. So sometimes we'll vote on where we think we should go, or we're just like, you know what, let's go this way. See if we spot this landmark, then we know we're in the right direction.
Okay.
If we don't, then
so you have to put your case forward.
Yeah, you have to. You literally have to say your piece and then hope people kind of agree with you.
So as a faith person, working in a situation like this, going into sort of a Duke of Edinburgh award scheme, did you encounter difficulties in any way?
Like, I think it's sometimes...
As a faith person, yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of praying, sometimes it was a little bit difficult to pray because we would do it in summer, so it was still light, but Zohar Asr was a problem because I would have to do it while we're walking.
That's right.
If you're running out, like, doing tayammum, you have to do tayammum, not wudu, because sometimes you don't have water.
That's right.
So it can be a little bit troublesome.
Yeah. But what about the understanding from your colleagues about the needs of your faith? Did they understand it?
Yeah, everyone's really supportive.
Support you.
Even some of my friends will be like, "Oh, what time do you need to pray?" And we can figure out a break time.
So they're very understanding and considerate.
Yeah. Nobody has any problem. They're really nice, and then they'll help me work out where Qibla is from the compass as well.
So I want to ask you, sort of faith related again. So when you were growing up in Stanmore, primary, secondary, did the Duke of Edinburgh, cycling, and now university.
Yeah.
As a faith person, have you seen an evolving nature of more understanding from the public, or you didn't notice much of a difference in all these phases that you went through?
I think it depends on where you are and what you're surrounded with, because in my secondary school, for example, was a very white secondary school.
Okay.
There wasn't many people of color or people who were Muslim and stuff. So it was quite difficult in that respect. Like, people didn't get it as much, even though they knew it and they respected that, but they didn't understand that.
Right.
But when I moved for sixth form and now university, I'm surrounded with people who are very similar to me, or people who understand that, or similar cultures, or even different cultures, but they have a better understanding. So they respect it a lot more and value that a lot more, rather than some
and
other
that is
people.
what you're finding at the university, and hopefully outside university as well. Yeah. Okay, coming back to cycling again. So now I want to sort of your views on, would you say that cycling is being taken up because more and more people are understanding of the environmental issues and all that? Also, that health-wise, it's better to cycle and be more active because cycling makes you more active. Would you say that is increasing, and that's why cycling is being taken up more?
I think it comes on both ways, because some people will use it as like active transport, so they'll cycle to work and stuff, and that'll be, and also for fitness, like getting healthy, going for, if you are cycling to work, you're exercising every day, or even if you're just riding like on the weekends, but you're riding properly, you are it's a form of exercise and you are working out. But I think there's also other things towards it as well. Like, some people will, some of the women that we have in our club, they come and cycle with us because they weren't able to do that when they were younger. They didn't learn how to ride until they were older and they had children, and then they saw their children learning to ride and they were like, I want to ride too, because it wasn't something available for them at the time and where they grew up. But now it is, so they're enjoying that socializing part of it, the freedom of it. It's something new and something exciting
and
for
exciting,
them.
yeah. What about now I want to come back to the community. What about our community? I mean, are you finding that cycling is being taken up more and more amongst the women's section of our community?
Yeah, like a lot of the a lot of our club is made up of our community members.
All right. Okay.
And it is like quite similar in the terms of that if they grew up in East Africa or they grew up in India or wherever they grew up, cycling wasn't something that they were allowed to do as much. So maybe with their brothers were, but they weren't, or because they were women and the mindset was different at the time.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now they are learning how to do it now, and they can have that. They're not the only ones. Like, more people are there. They can go out on rides together, have like a coffee, and then come back. And it's a mode of exercise, and not only
social as well.
Yeah, but not only for physical well-being, but mental well-being as well.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
You need that break from whatever duties you have.
And also on top, what you described is the freedom that you have as you cycle. It's very exciting, this cycling business. But are there any sort of, would you say that, what demographics of women that take up cycling? Would you say sort of young mothers or students or young sort of person of young age?
It's interesting because there's a gap. So you've got like the young kids who are like from, like I said, from 4 to maybe like 15, 14, 15. And they enjoy cycling and they do it a lot. And then you have like the older age who maybe like they've already like you've got young mothers who enjoy it, and then you've got like even elders whose children have grown up or they're just in a different stage in life and they enjoy it as well. But you've got a gap between like my age and young mother age. Like not many people my age, in our community at least, are cycling that much.
Not?
Yeah, so none of my friends
What could be
cycle.
the rationale or the reason, would you say?
We didn't grow up with it. It wasn't introduced to us, and it wasn't a sport that was seen as acceptable for a while, for women specifically.
Really?
Yeah, because as I was growing up, I got told like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, or you shouldn't. It's not ladylike. It's not hijab. It doesn't fit on hijab, so you shouldn't do it. Okay. So there is a generational gap for my age that's missed it, right?
But the young mother they're taking up cycling
up from now.
From now.
So they missed it all in the past.
Yeah, okay, right.
And now they're taking up now, and even like people who are older are taking up now because they missed it the whole time. And now we've got the new generation who have taken it up from the beginning. So hopefully we'll see like now it's like all the way through life cycling will be there.
Is there any special age that you would say that look, once you've reached 65, you can't?
No way, we have 65-year-olds riding with us.
So? Okay, so what's the eldest that you have?
Who was it? I think we had a 75-year-old we taught how to ride, and she did a sportive with us. She did 30 miles with us. Okay. So from Harrow to Windsor she did. And she was amazing. Like, there is no limit. As long as you are physically capable, there is no limit.
Okay. Now that's good to know. The other thing which came to my mind is that as you cycle on the road, there is always an issue or a challenge between a motorist and a cyclist.
Yes, of course.
Are they being resolved, or how are they being resolved, or are there sort of still contentious issues between the two motorists and the cyclist?
I think the mayor's trying to do a lot to try and make active transport more like riding and that sort of thing more accessible. So trying to include cycle lanes and stuff. But not all of it works. Like a lot of the roads, like especially if you take Harrow and Stanmore, for example, like there's potholes everywhere. Cycling is very difficult here because you're just like, if you're on a road bike, you've got quite thin tires. So one piece of gravel from a pothole and your tires popped.
Oh.
So, which nobody wants.
Yes,
so cycling in Harrow can be quite difficult. And then also sometimes the drivers around here, they don't, like a lot of drivers don't care for cyclists, right? So they will come very close to you. They won't give you space, even though the highway code is now changed.
That's right, yeah.
But
still there. And then the rage also that occurs.
Yeah, road rage.
People are a bit concerned and afraid of that sort of thing. Now, there is another thing that I think you mentioned it, and I have got a question. Evolve Cycling Network. Is it sort of basically confined to anyone, or just our community ladies? Or
No, we are a cycling club, so we are affiliated with British Cycling, and so we are open to everyone. Right, we do have a lot of members from our community who come and join us.
Right.
But we are open to. We're not discriminatory against anyone. anyone is welcome to come and join.
Okay, well, that's a very nice explanation of cycling, and I think that our community would have been inspired at least to go for cycling
Absolutely,
after your talk. What I want to ask you though, so once you qualify as a psychology criminology, you have something in mind that you want to do afterwards?
I'm not
as your career?
Yeah,
do you think you'll go into cycling?
Potentially, it's an option. So I have a scholarship with British Cycling, and I work on a part-time basis with them. So I do a lot of work with them. So I would maybe potentially would consider working for them in the future if there is a job that I would want to take up.
Yeah, and that also means that if you're passionate about cycling, that you would not be going to work because you enjoy work. So you will get up and you'll do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So you're not going to work. Actually, you're going to enjoy what you're going to do.
Absolutely. It won't be like, oh God, I have to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. No, it'll be like, oh yeah, I get to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, for cycling. Okay, just last thing. You want to give a message to the community about anything that you have in mind, like for example, cycling or anything that you may feel that may help the community from your experiences that I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but as a young person, up and coming person who is just about to qualify and passionate about cycling, you have anything that you want to share with the community?
I would say do whatever makes you happy, as long as you're not harming anyone or doing anything like illegal or wrong. Do what makes you happy, because you're living your life for yourself, not for any other people. It's your life, so make the choices that are going to make you happy and are going to give you the best results for in whatever direction you want to go.
And that's exactly what you have done in picking up the cycling. Thank you very much, Shahina. It was very enjoyable to do this conversation as well. And I hope that you go on sort of making progress in what you love. Cycling.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Well, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all, okay? Thank you very much, and inshallah we'll see you again next time. Khuda Hafiz.